What is going on, everybody out there? Welcome to the React episode 28 here on the Koalition.com and the Koalition YouTube channel. I'm Jake James Lugo. I'm gathered here with a bunch of people to react to the PlayStation meeting that just literally happened minutes ago. With me, I got Gary Swaby. My boy Gary, what's going on? Gary, you there?
My bad, I
Already
was muted.
texted.
My bad. Yeah, it's a pretty exciting day today with all the conferences. So yeah, I'm interested in chopping it up with you guys.
Nice. And with me also, we got Chris Searley. Chris, what's going on?
Hey, glad to be here, man.
We also got Dana. Dana, what is happening?
Hola.
And then Charles Singletary. Charles, what's going on?
Yo, yo, yo.
All right, so I want to run through a couple of the facts that we know because we had a whole bunch of information just drop on us from the PlayStation meeting that just happened not so long ago. So, PlayStation Neo is now officially known as PlayStation 4 Pro. Okay, I personally, for me, I don't know why they didn't just call it PlayStation 4 Plus, but who cares at this point? We got a whole bunch of info to kind of dive into. PlayStation 4 Pro will be out November 10th, 2016. Okay, it's going to be out at $399 is the official price point for it. The PlayStation 4 Slim, which is just being called the PlayStation 4, so this is just a new model that's going to replace the older model PlayStation 4. This is the PS4 at this point. Out September 15th this year, $299. Now, the PS4 Pro will be able to complement the original PlayStation 4 with its 4K and HDR capabilities. Okay, there's a whole bunch of other stuff in here that they mention, a whole bunch of different facts, but I'm going to kind of, go through a few of like the key points and stuff. One of the interesting things that was said about PS4 Pro is that one is going to have 1 terabyte hard drive. Okay, it's going to have a boosted CPU clock rate, and it's going to have double the power of the PlayStation 4 GPU, the original PlayStation 4 GPU. In addition to that, very soon we're going to be getting a firmware update to all the PlayStation 4 models that's going to allow them to get the same type of, I believe it's the same type of capabilities as far as like the HDR stuff that PlayStation 4 Pro is going to have, but it's going to be on similar levels for the other models of PlayStation 4. So, with just those basic facts, and then we'll get into some of the other games and stuff that they showed during the presentation stuff. Gary, give me your thoughts on everything PlayStation 4 Pro, PS4 Slim, or just PS4. What's going through your mind right now?
I mean, it's cool if you have a 4K TV, I guess. It's a cool little addition, and it will allow you to watch 4K YouTube and Netflix and movies in general, and it will upscale your games to better quality. So all that stuff is good, but I mean, if you already have a PS4, I don't know if it's actually worth, buying the PlayStation 4 Pro, like upgrading to it. But I guess, if you haven't got a PS4 already, you have a 4K TV, then it's the option for you, I guess. But, me personally, I'm a little underwhelmed with what was shown today, but that's just me though.
Interesting, and that's a sentiment I'm starting to see a lot, not only on social media, but even people that I know that I'm around here. My brother, he's actually been thinking about getting a PlayStation 4, and he has a 4K TV. So he saw this, and he saw the price point of the PlayStation 4 Pro, because originally he was just thinking of getting the Slim, because he wants a PlayStation 4 whenever he can, but he was like, you know what, $399 for him seems like a decent price for someone that doesn't own a PlayStation 4, so I might as well get that model and make it work with my 4K TV and stuff. But the bigger kind of like, reaction or like, universal reaction I'm seeing from a lot of people on social media and stuff is that at this point, pretty much, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of reasons to get the PlayStation 4 Pro now, especially if you already own a PlayStation 4. There are some minor differences from the older model, even, again, arguably the Slim and stuff, but again, there wasn't a lot of excitement. There was a lot of people that were kind of down at what was revealed about it, kind of down at like some of the detailed explanation that you heard from like Mark Cerny and stuff that was on stage. So I can understand that, but Dana, PlayStation 4 Pro, where's your mindset?
Well, with me, basically, I think that it's great if you have the capabilities in the television to watch all of these videos and movies and games, but right now it's not something I'm very enthused about. I'm not going to rush to the store to buy it at this moment. Maybe later on, but just right now, I'm completely underwhelmed by the entire conference.
Yeah, so similar to Gary in that respect. But before I jump to the next person, in that regard, would you consider getting a PS4 Slim or the newer model PS4? The $299 one?
I would just stick with the Slim.
Probably just stick with the
Because
Slim. Okay,
right
yeah, that's
now,
fair enough.
yeah, I would just look with, because it's just a lot of money. You know, the Slim just came out, and for me, the Slim is just something that's better. It's something that's going to be worth of my money right now, and I think the release dates were just too close. I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, the Slim's coming out on the 15th, so it's like right around the corner. It's like next week, practically, at this point, or the following week, like that. So, Charles, PS4 Pro, PS4 Slim, or the new model stuff, what's on your mind?
I've spoken on it a few times on previous shows on the co-op, and I think on the Throwdown as well. And it is exactly what I assumed it was going to be, and what I've been saying it is going to be on those shows, that it's just a visual upgrade. It is just a premium console. It is not a significant follow-up that would send you out to the stores to go and get it. If you don't have a 4K TV, I think Dana said as well, if you don't have a 4K TV, then the upgrades are minuscule. It's nothing for you to be really interested in, because if I'm not mistaken, the HDR is going to be an upgrade for the standard PlayStation 4 anyway. So it's just a premium thing. I knew that people would kind of get their hopes up with the Scorpio announcement coming as a response to the Neo, or seemingly as a response. I don't know if they did it that way, but the media treated it that way. So it kind of put it in the I guess kind of, it set up the wrong expectations for it for some people. But I don't have a PS4 currently, and I'm probably just gonna get the Slim, and I'll be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, there's a $100 difference between the Slim and the PS4 Pro. So a lot of people, I feel like they're going to walk into a GameStop, or they're going to walk into any other retailer. If they're going to see that $100 difference, they're going to be like, okay, well, you get this for $299, maybe a game or so for the same amount of price that I could pay for the Pro. It doesn't seem like, at least, you know, to the common person that might not be in the know as much as all of us, would actually look at some of like the stuff that's listed on there and be like, okay, I don't really have a 4K TV, or I don't understand any of this other stuff. This seems cheaper, and it seems like a PlayStation 4 to me, so I'm just going to go pick that up. Do you think that that's going to probably be the scenario for a lot of people?
Probably so. I've seen a few people, specifically Tony, shout out to him, talking about how the $100 difference is not that much of a difference. And it actually is, depending on the situation that you walk into, because everybody's going to value these upgrades that the Pro have a different way. There was nothing in the announcement for the Pro that was outside of this whole visual feast that it's supposed to be that made it a valuable thing for anyone. So if you don't care about visuals that much, then you're not going to care. Even if you somehow have a 4K TV, you may not even care about upgrading this console that you already have. Like that is another $400 that you're going to be spending. It's not another $100. There's a $100 difference between those. But if you already have a console, that's $400 you have to spend again. If you don't have a console, then you decide if you want it. If you want to spend that extra $100 in addition to getting a 4K TV, or not, you know what I'm saying? It might be that you're kind of thinking about upgrading to 4K, which is probably not as much a common thing. It's cheaper to do now, but the 4K still is not a standard thing across the market. There are a lot of newer Netflix shows coming out in 4K. Buying Blu-rays, if I'm not mistaken, is kind of fallen off a bit. I'm not 100% sure. I think people are kind of gravitating more towards digital purchases, so maybe they could benefit from that. I'm not sure, but it's the Slim is going to be the thing that continues to push Sony's sales for it, and I think that they know that. I don't think they believe the Pro is just going to be some gangbusters sales thing with the upgrades that it had, and I mean, they never approached it that way either.
So I'm going to get into some other points about that specifically, but I want to kick it over to Chris because I want to get your opinion so that way we have the full panel and such. Tell me, PS4 Pro, yay or nay?
No, I think right out of the gate they tripped, and the Slim and the Pro are coming out way too close to each other. I think you made a great point about the price difference. It's like by November, parents go into a Toys R Us or wherever, and their kids want a PlayStation. Why would they buy the Pro when the Slim is there for $100 cheaper? Value is uber important to shoppers, especially around the holidays. So I think that's a mistake. And secondly, their confusing message about HDR, which I feel is just a gimmick. That's a selling point for the system. So if I have a firmware upgrade that's going to bring me HDR now, and I have a PlayStation 4, then why should I get a Slim? And then on top of that, if there's nothing really special happening on the Pro side right now this year, I have no reason to upgrade right now. I could just wait for a price drop. So I feel like this conference was a snooze fest. I think they didn't come out with enough facts to entice anybody. I couldn't tell. I'm sure people sitting in the theater could see the difference on the screens for the quality bump, but I couldn't see it watching on Twitch. I couldn't tell that everything's like, oh, look at Horizon. I'm like, oh, it looks grainy to me. This doesn't look any better. It's not really convincing me. And honestly, it looked like everyone was asleep. So I think this meeting was a bomb. I don't think this went at all how they thought it was going to go.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've seen a lot of people say very similar things, have very similar sentiments, where this is very kind of like unexciting compared to where it was last time, obviously, when they were revealing brand new hardware. They were revealing the PlayStation 4. I think that, it's like some people mentioned on Twitter and such, that they were trying to maybe recapture that same type of essence, that same type of like level of excitement and such, and it's obviously it didn't reach anywhere near those heights like that. I think also the other good point that we have to mention based off all the stuff that we've all said and stuff, because we just saw this get confirmed right before we started recording. No Ultra HD Blu-ray for the PS4 Pro, and it's only going to get 4K video via streaming and apps. So, according to a lot of other people, from what I've been seeing and stuff being talked about and stuff, the Xbox One S already has that. And, like, you know, for people that have been thinking about this, I mean, it kind of, you know, isn't hard to see maybe the difference between the two consoles and stuff, or at least, you know, see maybe what might actually be a better purchase and stuff, or really kind of get down on the fact that there's even more stuff against the PlayStation 4 Pro, you know, and the type of value that it brings out, you know, towards everybody, whether you have a PlayStation 4 or you don't have a PlayStation 4 like that. I think that you make a great point that, again, especially during the holiday season, around like Black Friday and stuff, because PlayStation 4 Pro comes out right before Black Friday, I believe it is, or sometimes like about a week or so before Black Friday. And people are going to be thinking about stuff like that, because for that same $100 difference, they could go not only get all the other discounts that you're probably going to get in the stores and stuff, but also use that extra $100 difference to get games or to get other stuff, get PlayStation Plus, which, you know, you probably get like a small free trial whenever you get whatever console that is, but you're still going to want to be able to have all that stuff, again, if you're in the know and such. But I think that's a very, very big deal. But now let's talk about the conference, since Chris kind of, you know, springboarded us into that. The conference for me personally was very meh. I felt it was, like Chris, it was very dull. It felt like an ASMR presentation a little bit when Mark Cerny was on stage. I know a lot of people were kind of joking about that, but it kind of was. It was very mellow, it was very chill and stuff, and it was just kind of, you know, really breaking down and trying to really heavily explain or overly explain a lot of the stuff with PlayStation 4 Pro, which a lot of people have pointed out that when Microsoft revealed the Xbox One S, they didn't really do that. They didn't feel the need to do that. But it kind of, you know, in this presentation was the complete opposite of that. I felt that some of the new games that were shown were interesting. I thought it was cool seeing the new Mass Effect footage. It was cool seeing the little tidbits of like Spider-Man, as well as everything else that they showed in those different sizzle reels and the different points when they were showing off games that I think were either running in 4K or they were running on the PlayStation 4 Pro here and there, something like that, at some point like towards the middle of the conference, like that, before they got into like the stats and like all the breakdown that Mark Cerny was talking about. But I don't know. Let me get some impressions from you guys. Dana, tell me what you think about the presentation itself.
The presentation for me was completely boring. It went into a lot, when it broke down the stats, it was great, but at the same time, it just started losing me. When they showed the Spider-Man Homecoming, that was the only time when I was really able to see the difference in the graphics. Other than that, nothing at all. It just didn't seem to be put together very well, and I found myself just losing interest more and more. I wanted to see more of the different games. Instead of you just running down all of these, you know, stats to me, I want to just make it more visual. For me, it didn't sell at all.
Now, a good point to bring up before I kick it over to Gary, because I want to get your impressions, Gary, is that a lot of people have said like this presentation really wasn't for us, quote unquote. Technically, I know I've seen a couple people talking about that, saying that this was kind of like for a different audience. Like our type of presentation that would be much more geared towards us would be like something that we see at like, you know, a Paris Games Week, an E3, or maybe even PAX to some extent. But really, PlayStation doesn't really do presentations like that at PAX. But this was a little bit much more geared towards the other types of people that maybe, again, maybe aren't in the know as much as we are when it comes to different PlayStation products or just gaming in general. And I can understand that from a certain point of view. I don't necessarily agree with it completely and such. One of the things that Dana brought up here, you know, as far as games and stuff, and I think that a lot of people expected, but we did not get. We didn't get no showing or presentation of Red Dead, the new Red Dead, which a lot of people kept swearing by over the last like week or so, ever since that they announced that this event was going to go down. And I thought that was a little, you know, maybe not so much surprising. It should have been kind of expected, like, you know, it's a little bit too good to be true to some extent. But as far as like other big games that I was expecting, like I felt like a lot of stuff that we were shown, we've already known that are coming at some point. Like we got shown a lot at E3. There wasn't anything that was like gangbusters, even to the extent that they showed Mass Effect and stuff. But I digress, though. Let me kick it over to Gary. Gary, presentation.
Yeah, it was very boring and for no reason, because they didn't even really talk about like the specs of the system. They kind of made sure not to really delve deep into that. They more so just said a lot of fancy buzzwords about the system. And it was cool that we got to see some new footage for some of those games like Horizon and, you know, Spider-Man and Mass Effect and Andromeda. Those were probably the highlights of the press conference, which is cool. But besides that, you know, it was pretty much a snooze fest. And the only thing that I want to buy from that conference is one of Mark Cerny's shirts. Like, I definitely need to get myself one of those. Like, that's that British.
That was a baller
right
shirt,
there.
I'm not going to lie.
You really want to talk about the shirt, Gary? You really want to do that, man?
That
Yeah,
shirt was
man,
amazing.
That shirt's dope, man.
But yeah, interesting stuff. Now, one other point that I also want to bring up that I thought was kind of weird, and I saw some people comment about it on social media, was when they were coming out and saying that they were asking their third-party partners about actually, you know, releasing patches and stuff for some of their older games to kind of, you know, I guess get the same type of benefits that, you know, running either on 4K or just getting that upscale or whatever else to run better on like the PlayStation 4 Pro or whatever else like that. And I thought that was a little bit that was like one of the points where I felt like things were kind of starting to go a little bit downhill, because I know a lot of people were kind of a little bit upset about that and was like, you're already kind of putting more work on developers at that point, because now they don't just have to worry about one PlayStation console. Now they got to worry about 2 or 3 at this point. And I feel that's a fair point to make. I mean, I don't understand the complete like detailed logistics of it. It sounds like it'd be really crappy from a developer's perspective, you know, having to throw things through certification again and again, which costs money and resources like that. That I feel is a big issue and such. But Charles, give me some thoughts. Oh no, Gary, you got something else to say?
Oh yeah, sorry Charles, just to cut in, I don't think it will be as big an issue as it will be with the Scorpio, to be honest, because there's like the upgrade to PS4 Pro seems very minute, like Charles said before, so I don't think they'll have that much of a problem realistically.
All right,
Go ahead, Charles.
Wait,
Go
what was
Charles,
the question?
any thoughts?
What was the question about the problem with what?
Like developers having to put in extra work to, you know, make it support all platforms and stuff.
All the PlayStation platforms.
Hell no, absolutely not. Just like you said, it's a minuscule leap. This is not. They're not putting this on this, you know, on a whole new set of things for, like, they don't have to completely overhaul their developer kit for these people to develop for their console. This is just a premium PlayStation 4 specifically.
But here's a point before you continue. It's like, again, patches and upgrades and all that other stuff that you get for older games and stuff, they have to go through certification again through the PlayStation Network when they go released onto the PSN like that. So that does cost them money, and it does cost them some resources to do that. That's why some people were so visibly upset about it from what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they handle the certification individually for both consoles, that might be a problem.
Because if you think about it, when Andrew House came on there and he was saying that, right, if it was really the case where maybe it wasn't so much of a big deal, he would have said, like, besides that they showed Activision and EA and stuff like that, they probably would have shown more people that were on board like that. Or it would have shown, like, again, probably like one of those splash pages of third-party developers besides first parties, because obviously the first parties are going to be down for whatever it is that they do, but a whole bunch of other third-party developers, maybe indie developers, actually jumping on board with that. That's at least how I would have seen it. But again, I digress.
We don't know what's going on entirely behind the scenes, but you can make an educated guess off of this. These games that they showed on stage were, while people had an issue with the presentation, which I understand, I personally didn't have that much of high expectations for just this kind of impromptu meeting thing. They were older games that it probably didn't take very long for them to add these PlayStation Pro features to, like For Honor and Call of Duty and the older Call of Duty and stuff like that. So, I would assume it's not a very daunting thing for them to do if they were able to do it with those. So when it's made available to these other people, to these other developers, I don't foresee a problem like you think, or like you're asking at least.
All right, fair enough. Now, let's run through some games, and I'm going to kick it over to Chris to get some thoughts on this. So we saw a bunch of games, okay, through sizzle reels, and they show like little, kind of like, just small little demos and some new footage for a couple of them. Now, all the games that I'm mentioning now are going to have HDR and 4K support right from the get-go, including some older ones that have been out for a while now, but I guess that, because they're Activision games, like Call of Duty and stuff, they're going to implement that same type of capability with them when PlayStation 4 Pro is out and Sim is out. So we have the new Spider-Man on PS4, okay, that they showed a little demo of that. For Honor, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Days Gone, Watch Dogs 2, Farpoint, Horizon Zero Dawn, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare Remastered, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, FIFA 17, Battlefield 1, Mass Effect Andromeda, Dishonored 2, and Final Fantasy 15. Now, those are all the games that we saw there at this point. So, Chris, give me your thoughts. Good showing of games, good presentation overall. What do you think?
Well, I mean there wasn't any surprises in there. I mean, the only thing is like we've seen more of Mass Effect Andromeda than we have yet to see. So that was nice. That was the highlight of the conference for me. I was like, wow, I actually get to see more Mass Effect. I am not a Call of Duty guy. I mean, they showed the scenes on the asteroid, and I was like, okay. Again, I need to see the raw footage because on the stream it didn't look impressive to me. I didn't see this like, wow, this is a reason to own this. Like, I didn't see it. And Spider-Man looks nice, but it looked nice before, and I honestly didn't see enough to say go out and buy this because you need HDR in your life, or you need 4K in your life. Like, I didn't see any of that. Like, I'm excited for the games more than this hardware. Like, I thought this was supposed to be the reason to buy this new hardware. I didn't see a reason to do that. And you're fine if you have PS4 right now. I'll be able to play Spider-Man. A firmware upgrade's gonna get me HDR. That's fine. I'll probably turn it off anyway.
Cool. Dana, thoughts on the assortment of games that I mentioned there?
Well, as it was previously said, we've seen these games before, except for Mass Effect. We saw a little bit more of the gameplay, but other than that, it was just underwhelming. I didn't really care about Call of Duty. I felt like I've seen that, 15,000 billion times. There's nothing new that you can do with it. The other games was just blah. I mean, I'm pretty sure separately when you play them, they'll be fine, but the presentation and the games that they just showed was just not anything that convinced me to buy the Pro at all. So I wasn't feeling it.
And Gary, give me your thoughts on those games. I know, again, some of them you're a fan of. I know you talked about a few of them there.
Yeah, I mean, the only one I was really excited to see more of was the Mass Effect one, but I mean, even that wasn't that great. Like, we didn't really get to see that much. They showed like the new character and stuff, but besides that, there wasn't too much context there. It was just a lot of like walking around, looking at the scenery and stuff, which is cool, but I want to see more of that game at this point. Call of Duty, Call of Duty's like whatever to me now. Like, I'm not that bothered by it. Horizon was the one that was really impressive for me, and not because of the visuals, because like Chris said, you can't really accurately tell how much better it looks on the PlayStation 4 Pro by watching on the stream. But from the footage they did show, it does look interesting of their game, and it's got me even more excited for it. But besides that, I wasn't really too impressed. I feel like we'll get a better representation of, all the games at the PlayStation experience, and maybe that's when we'll see Red Dead as well.
Cool. Yeah, maybe, possibly. That'll be. Now I'm thinking about it. Now maybe that'll be kind of a cool reveal at PlayStation Experience. I still, it would have been cool here too as well. But again, it's Red Dead, so we're gonna get excited no matter when they actually reveal it. So, Charles, thoughts on all the games? There's so many games that I mentioned. HDR, 4K, the new footage.
I actually got to the stream a little bit late, so I didn't see the Spider-Man clip, but I saw Horizon. I saw the biker zombie thing. I came in on the tail end of that, and I think someone mentioned it, but it's hard to tell the difference through a Twitch stream. I don't know if anyone said that in here, but they said it in the chat. And those games, I was already excited for all of them. So the most impressive new thing for me was Mass Effect. Getting to actually see that work in progress. So, yeah, that's definitely my favorite thing.
Cool. Yeah, I'm very similar to you guys. Again, I think the top two for me, at least as far as the ones I thought were really interesting and cool, was Horizon and Mass Effect. I mean, Mass Effect more so because we haven't seen a lot of that in quite a while, if anything at this point. And this is the first time where we really got a real good hard look at it. For the first time. And then Horizon, I think Horizon still looks great. I still think that a lot of people are really excited about that game, and we've seen a ton of it at this point. Some people have played it at E3, which is crazy. So again, those are my favorite games out of all that stuff, even though everything else that they showed looked good in some respect like that. So let's get to some final wrap-up thoughts. I'm going to start with Gary. So final thoughts overall, PlayStation meeting in total.
Me personally, I'm underwhelmed, but if you are someone who has a 4K TV and you don't have a PlayStation yet, I would say definitely go get that system, the PlayStation 4 Pro. But if you've already got a PS4, you've got your HD or 4K TV, like I personally don't see any real reason to rush out and get one, especially when you can wait for a price drop anyway. So yeah, the whole thing with the Blu-ray, because I was going to say that, this is really good for media junkies who just like to watch things in 4K and stuff like that. But coming from the people who put a Blu-ray inside the PS3, it's a bit shocking that they didn't include the Ultra HD Blu-ray technology in this. So that's a little baffling in my opinion. But hey, besides that, it's decent for the people who want 4K content.
Ooh, Dana, final thoughts, PlayStation meeting from today overall.
If you have the money and you can upgrade, go right ahead and do it. For me, just stick to the Slim. Nothing really impressive.
Cool. Chris, final thoughts.
Sony's obviously focused on their games, which a lot of them look impressive, and I think that's most of the focus. As for the hardware, it wasn't very impressive, and I don't see a reason to go out and upgrade. If you already own a PS4, I think you're fine. And the Pro, there's not enough there to early adopt it. I say wait for a price drop next year or something.
And Charles, final thoughts, PlayStation meeting from today.
I think this Pro system is Sony feeling obligated to release something in a shorter window than console releases, like we're used to, like whatever, like eight years or so. But now that we've seen it, I wish that they would have just left it alone and just dropped the Slim, personally.
Yeah, I'm similar. I'm similar to a lot of what everything has been said from the entire panel. I feel like maybe this probably wasn't the best move, all the way down to like silly things about the name. I'm surprised they didn't call it PlayStation 4 Plus. Like again, just consistency with the branding, PS Plus, PlayStation 4 Plus, whatever. Stupid or whatnot. I think overall, PS4 Pro just seems unneeded. And the Slim is cool because the Slim feels like the same thing what they did with the PS4, not the PS4, the PS3 back in the day, from the fat model to the smaller model and stuff. So that's just like, again, typical Sony. Again, you saw it back in the PS2 era and arguably the PlayStation 1 era. So, but overall, with PS4 Pro, I just feel like it's unneeded. There's no reason for someone like me that owns a PS4 to go out and get it. There's no reason for me really to recommend it to a lot of other people unless they never owned a PlayStation 4 and they just want to get a new model. And even then, it's still down to their preference if they want to feel like spending the money out there like that. Keep this all in mind, guys. PlayStation VR is coming out sometime soon. And I believe it's October, right? PlayStation VR is in October, correct?
Yeah, October.
Yeah, so that's another thing that to keep in mind, especially if you want to get a whole bunch of other PlayStation products or experience all this different stuff, or if you were thinking about diving into the VR experience like that. So there's a lot of factors here. And funny enough, we didn't really get a lot of talk of PSVR during this conference at all.
I was thinking the same thing. Like I
Very
barely
little.
heard anything. Yeah, just how it connects to the consoles, but nothing else. I don't.
And
understand.
That was something I thought was going to come up.
What the developers will have access to with as far as like the PlayStation 4 Pro, like there's some things that they can enhance in on the development side for their games. That's all that they mentioned.
Yeah, but I was like expecting them to say is like, oh, if you guys want a really awesome experience with PlayStation VR, you might want to get it with the Pro or get it alongside your Pro and something like that along those lines. Maybe not exactly that, but like that was something I remember myself and a bunch of other people kept like saying at some point because it just made logical sense, just deductive reasoning like that. But Gary, you were going to say something before?
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask you guys what you thought of the design because like it's basically like two PS4 Slim stuck together, pretty much. Like
yeah,
you guys,
practically. That I thought the same thing when I saw it. I was like, wow, it's bigger, like bigger. So I don't know.
I like the minimalist design of it. I like the Slim also though, so I'm kind of going against the grain with what I've seen on Twitter at least. A lot of people didn't like the design for it, but I like it a lot.
I just find it ironic that Microsoft seems to be trying to go smaller when the Xbox One started huge and PlayStation is going bigger.
Well,
But-
not
wait.
completely, because again, the Slim is smaller.
Yeah, the Slim is smaller, but the Neo looks like a double-decker bus. It's like, why does it look like that?
It looks like a double stacked Oreo. That's what it really much looks
The
like.
Scorpio's going to be
Seriously.
ginormous too.
Seriously, like that's what it looked like to me when I first saw it. I was like, wow, that is kind of chunky overall.
Yeah. Well, the Scorpio it will be powered by plutonium to get the teraflops, so that's why.
You're gonna get Doc Brown in there. Doc Brown designing the Xbox Project Scorpio. That'd be rich. If they're genius, then they'll use them for the market. That'd be awesome.
What did Dana think of the design?
I thought that it was just too big. It was odd look. It wasn't odd looking. It was just too big. That it was just so odd. It looked like the PS2. I just wasn't a fan of the design, and that's why I like the Slim. Because the Slim, again, it's smaller, and it just seems to be. I like that minimalist thing where I could just put it in a little corner, and it's not distracting, and it's small. But this one, I wasn't a fan.
You feel like it's cleaner, smoother edges? Because I know like the Slim has smoothed out edges, and like the original model PS4, and from what it looked like with this one, it has the hard edges on the side.
Yeah, I like the slimmer edges. I like everything looking smooth and nice. It's just, to me, it's just more appealing.
Yeah, another thing that I also want to mention is like no really talk about the controller. Remember everybody made a big deal when the leaks happened for the PS4 Slim, and they were talking about it in relation to the Neo about the controller a little bit, like the redesigned controller with the light bar that goes in a little bit more further towards the touchpad and stuff. Not any talk about that as well. Like, did you guys notice that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I got more from the leaks, and I saw an unboxing on YouTube a few days ago where the person who unboxed it talked about the controller, right? We didn't really get any talk about the controller. It was just there visually, like, here it is. And
I'm curious to know if that's going to be sold, that model controller is going to start being sold separately, when these two consoles go on sale like that. Or is it still going to, like, again, it's going to take some time before that happens? Like, those were just questions I felt like, just weren't addressed for some people. That was just one of those little things that were noticed. Not related to, like, the big issue or the big, like, topics that need to be touched on and such. But overall, those are our reactions, our thoughts on the PlayStation meeting from today, the PlayStation 4 Pro, the PlayStation Slim, or the new model PlayStation and such, as well as all the games that were shown during the event today and stuff. So let's get some final shout-outs from going down through the panel. So Charles, final shout-outs before we wrap up.
I wasn't ready, my bad. Shout out to everybody that was in the YouTube chat participating. I appreciate your different perspectives on the PlayStation meeting and the things that were revealed or not shown.
Nice, nice. Chris, final shout outs before we wrap up.
Oh, yeah, shout out to the Throwdown crew who I was communicating with during the meeting, and we will be discussing this heavily tomorrow night on the Throwdown, so come check it out, episode 100.
Cool. Dana, final shout outs.
Shout out to the people who can afford the new PlayStation Pro, because I don't have the money for it, and I think it's unnecessary. But good for you if you like it and you're gonna buy it.
I'm right there with you.
Gary, final shout outs.
Yeah, shouts to Apple and Miyamoto. Shouts to those guys. And shouts to Brian Wilson in the chat because he's looking forward to the PlayStation Pro. So shouts to him. And Carlos. Shouts to you guys for being in the chat and everything. And shouts to everyone else. And make sure you leave your comments. Let us know what you think of the PlayStation 4 Pro and Slim.
Of course. Thank you, everybody that's hanging out with us in the chat, listening to our live on-the-fly reactions for everything that went on with the event today. Shout out to everybody that leaves us comments in all our postings, our articles, or reviews on the website. That's always cool. Shout out to the patrons for supporting us, for allowing us to kind of do some awesome stuff, exclusive content for all of you, and help, keep these discussions going and whatnot. And shout out to Mark Cerny's shirt, because I'm with Gary on that one. That was a dope-ass shirt. Just to be honest with you, throw that out there for him.
Yeah, I need one of those, man. That's that British swag right there. I need to represent.
Watch, you're going to go to E3 next year wearing that same type of shirt. Talk about, yo, Mark, I got you, son. But yeah, shout out to everybody leaving us comments, supporting us, checking out the website, keeping that discussion going, interacting with us on social media. Don't forget to follow all of us on Twitter. Follow the website on Twitter as well, on the Facebook page, on Facebook and such, and again, also on Patreon if you can. We have exclusive content on there that's been going up frequently, over the last couple of weeks and such. We got a couple exclusive podcasts and stuff, and we got more planned out that you guys are going to enjoy. So from all of us here at the Koalition, thank you. We will talk to all of you guys again real soon. Peace out. Stay epic, everybody.